Thank you for joining us. So this first part here was essentially what gave us the target for the break to the upside there. As you can see, it's near perfect. Now, if we take that same leg that was the in to this channel, I think even if we went from here, we've still got a little way to go. This is where I think 1640, and if we put a horizontal line, let's just see if by any chance it lines up with anything. So look, let's zoom enough. So yes, funny enough, if we look left, we get a sort of medium between these sort of support, resistance, support again from the past. So I think 1640 is a very good target, a realistic target, and even further up to 1790. So I certainly expect further upside, and 1640 being my target. Now, I've just been hoping for a playback. I haven't managed to get into any trades today. I didn't want to force anything, and as I mentioned on the groups, I was waiting for potentially jumping into pound yen, and it's a case of me wanting to really focus on gold just because of the uncertainties out there, and the volume. When we look at these candles, has been great. So yes, as you rightly put, it's about those entries. So it's why today I wanted to focus on how to get into those entries when it just seems to be going one way. So what we're really going to do is break down into lower time frames. Of course, we use all of them for analysis, but we know this is trending upwards. Even on the daily, the 20s crossed the 50, momentum's pushing to the upside. There's no sign yet of a pullback, and so we should continue to be looking for buys. Now, if we come down as low as the 4 hour, we haven't even had a 4 hour 20 retest yet. Not since 20th of December when it started the big push to the upside when it started buying really. It's just continued and continued and continued, and hasn't even retested here. So what do you do in this situation? When it's breaking into new highs, is you can look into retest of potential resistance and support, e.g. here. When price has reached a bit of a top, pulled back a little bit, what did it do? It came back, retested the back end of that, 15.23 and 25, and then carried on pushing. And then if you look here onto where it rejected from and it pulled back, but it didn't quite pull back to it. So it wouldn't have got an entry, and this was actually like in the middle of the night. 2 a.m. this candle was. So there was no way, we was going to manage to enter that one. However, we are slowing down. We've had a pullback, we've had a little push, but it looks like we could be getting a pullback, and if we get it to this 20, great. 1550 for me is a brilliant entry. I'll be quite happy entering at 1550. Now, if we can't see an entry there, we can go down to the lower time frames. Now, I know that normally on a daily basis, I'm looking at 5-minute 20s, and just taking the longs off of there, which we're going to get to in a moment. But because this is sort of long term, especially with the uncertainties out there, quite happy holding this. There's not really anything else I'm interested in trading, just because I don't want to be caught out massively. So we had the opportunity here from the 1 hour 50, which was middle of the night, not happened since. The next opportunity is really where we've been earlier on today, at the 1464 level, where it's been coming back to this 1 hour 20, and we've seen this a few times, and it's holding it well, and seems to be pushing above. So we'll see. This could be coming back to retest. It could just come back to retest 1569 to 70, and then turning around. Very potentially likely. We've got some areas of interest there, so it could be a case it then turns around. But if it closes and sort of engulfs and pushes lower than this candle, then I think we'll hopefully get another 20. But remember, 20 is above the 50, 50 is above the 200. It's all very bullish. So that is the first entry point that we had was really here on this 120 retest at 64, which should still be up a nice 60 pips looking at it right now. So that was the first entry, but admittedly I didn't get a chance to get into this today. I mean, 30 minutes you can look at. I'm not going to look at those ones. The 1 hour is good enough for me to look at the 1 hour 20. That's been quite strong. The 5 minute 20 and the 5 minute. So what we've had since that push down is the break back up above, which was obviously early hours. And what happened just before 7, we've got a retest on the 20, pushed up, pulled back down to the 200 and below. So this is where, if you're looking at 1 hour 20, would have been a good buy. The 20 and the 50 still above. So you could have waited for a bit of momentum to push up and retest, which, in honesty, if I was going to get in earlier, it probably would have been here after 12 o'clock at 67. I would have seen it fall back a bit and then continue to the upside. So it might have been 30 or 40 pips of profit for the day. But now the trend is continuing. Looks nice, but I think we could get this 1 hour 20 come back into play, and that could provide a good entry. But let's see, if it really rejects this, like it did earlier on, rejecting that 5 minute 50, every time that it has done, it's pushed up 20 pips and more. So, where's we there? 68 up to 72, give 40 pips at that moment in time. If it wasn't this time of night, then we could look for an entry now. But I prefer to wait for some morning momentum now. And try and catch up what we've missed today. Pound Gen worked out really well for the other day, which we'll go into in a moment. But that is the only way to find entries. And don't get stuck into these theories of waiting for it to reverse, because even if you look here, if you're looking on this time frame and think, it's reached the top, it's going to reverse. Yeah, it's reversed a bit. But stick with the trend. Be looking for big drops to buy from, not those big areas to potentially catch a reversal from, because you don't know if that's going to happen until it's shown you that. Don't do it. It's safest to when the higher time frames are looking bullish, let's look bullish. This is the idea. And we've talked about this before. When a market gaps, it normally feels that before turning back around, which sort of did happen. That was what happened in them early hours. And then we've sort of been, we haven't had a big push. We've been relatively sideways. It's not moved astronomically, so I think we've still got plenty of opportunity coming into the rest of the week. We're looking for gold longs, but the first opportunity is definitely the 1 hour 20, which is 1564. But I would like to see a 1550 retest, and it could well happen. It could happen. It hasn't yet pushed back above new highs. We've definitely got a bit of a ceiling here, 77 to 80. Got smashed down from 1588. So I think once we get a nice pullback and retest in the 4 hour, back to the 1550 area, that's where we could see the push up to the 1640, the 1650, and potentially 1,000 pips. So that's what we need to be looking for, is the larger move, and then just keep capitalising on the smaller moves within, which should still be longs. Until we get any kind of break below, we've not even had a solid break below the 1 hour 50, break below the 1 hour 50, then maybe it's time to look at short-term shorts, but otherwise, just keep bullish. Is that helpful? Perfect. Yeah. I mean, it's just a case of find an entry when it shows it to you. Don't jump at it or think I've got to get into that, etc. We know it's bullish. Let's just look for those longs. and it will work fruitfully, you know. And just bear in mind, much as I think because of the volume at the moment, you have to take into account that it may swing a bit more than the usual 20 or 40 pips. Don't let it sort of stop you out there. I think use a smaller lot size and look for the bigger moves. Just because it might well swing back to 100 pip drop, but then just turn back around. It's very volatile, so it's going to catch a lot of people out. So you need to just be aware of that, and we just need to make sure that we can be careful, and you don't get stopped out unnecessarily. Let's have a look at the pound yen, just because that was a successful trade this week. So if we go to the daily, what happened was when US and Iran had their issues, we was already having a sort of drop from this 144, which was almost like a shoulder, and it did drop back down to the support level that we've had in for some time. I mean, it was literally double bottom from it here. It was the sort of neckline support area as well. My entry was on the daily 50. We took it for a ride. I took it up to 142.5, just above actually, because I was thinking that's going to be the point that could turn back around. And today, what we've seen is, after that big recovery yesterday engulfing, I would have expected to see continuation, but this uncertainty in today's candle means that we could be coming lower. I like the look of buys from here. I do see a potential, but I'm just more interested in gold. I'm not going to rush and lose money just because. So I'm going to be patient with it. But overall, it looks bullish. Daily got 20 above the 50, 50s above the 200. We've got potentially good pound news coming towards the end of the month, etc. And should be looking at that as a positive, and looking for those buys. We go down to the lower time frames. What we can see happen was a perfect break and retest of the 50 and continuation down, as we've seen many times. I'll be pretty sure that the 1 hour broker retested as well when that drop came. So yeah, break, retest, and continue on down. The yen does play nicely to the breakout strategies, but again, it was this big drop is what was the scary part. This was actually, I was thinking this was going to be the pullback to push up and carry on going, but it was the Trump stuff that managed to mess this up effectively and made it come down. But it provided an entry for us, and we've pulled back down to the 200 on the 4 hour, which is a kind of daily 20 area, and looks to be sort of rejecting and pushing back above. So maybe it will continue back to the upside and back up to 144. But I'm going to just keep on my hands for that one for now. I'm not sure if you had a chance today to look at the chart, but is there anything that you've seen at all? Okay, fine. Let's have a little breakdown. Yeah, bring yourself back in and you just sort of try and get back in the flow of it. Even if you don't trade, just try and keep an eye on it so that you sort of feel confident when entering. So we've got some Bitcoin trades going on, and it's waiting for it to settle so that we can get it done. So let's take a look through and see where things are in the markets anyway. And then we can see what not to trade. We're just having a little bit of a pullback. It's been strong, you know. The last quarter was strong. With everything else going on, I expect that just to sort of continue, but I don't tend to trade it so much. Silver looking very much like gold. We're just bullish, but out of the two, the volume is better in gold, so we'll stick to that. Dollar overall looking sort of bearish, you know. We've got the currency index, which is what's here. We're sort of, if you look at this as a channel, it's now broken it. The 20 has crossed over the 50 and the 200. And it looks like the 50 is about to cross it over as well. So we could see some more downside on the dollar. So, you know, I would predominantly be bearish on the dollar pairs. I mean, Dow's up at highs anyway. So, again, like gold, don't be caught out thinking, oh, is this the big drop? Because until we see a turning point, there's no guarantee that it's going to be turning around, etc. So just be aware of that. But and stocks will act differently to the currency in any case. A little bearish on the Aussie not had a good day at all, bearish. A lot of people would have been caught out on this thinking it's going to sort of carry on to the upside, I'm sure. So not seeing much in reversal. It's really just continuation. Swissy sort of making a new lower low, so it seems to have broken these bottoms here. So I think it's should likely just be continued further. Pounds were relatively strong today, so in comparison, expect the euro to be weak against it. You know, NZD looks to sort of been testing and turning around, but not quite. We'll see how that one closes. Euro against the Aussie looking strong, but you know, the Aussie's just done extremely bad, so makes sense why that one is looking stronger. So pounds, again, much like pound yen, it's sort of hovering around that daily 20. Sure. Pound Aussie's done very well today. We'll see anything really reversal wise other than this pound yen. You know, this candle does put me off. It does make me think that it's going to continue back down. So very mixed in the pound yen. Time sort of the best time, I would say. Yeah, I mean, you're going to get the volume end of the European coming on, but then 8 o'clock UK comes on. So if you've got sort of 2 hours a day, I'd say, yeah, 6:30 to 8:30 would probably be prime time, or maybe even 7 to 9, even better, because then you're going to get even more volume from when the UK settles down. But you know, no harm in having a look at 6:30, seeing what's gone on from the session before, the Asian session, seeing where the momentum might be. Important to try and find that. The dollar yen. So this is looking interesting because much as it looks like it's coming up, I think we could just be looking to test this area and then carry on back down. If we get our old fibs out, I'd be quite confident in saying that's around 0.382. It's a bit higher than that, but it's between 0.382 and 0.618. So I think that could be a very good short. I think we could be looking at a good short there. If we get to test those EMAs 108.8, I think that'd be interesting for a short, because things, money's going to keep flowing into the yen because of the scaring in the markets and stuff, and US, etc. out there. The dollar was looking weak on the currency chart there, so I think that could be a good short. Taking a look at that and looking at it, it's sort of respected it since it started pushing up in September, so now broken below. If we look even higher, let's see on the weekly, and then we'll go to the monthly. The weekly looks like it's just testing that 20. Might just turn around where it is. Monthly, yeah, bearish last month. Tested that, could be heading back down to the 200. So sort of a little bit bearish on the dollar yen. Let's have a look even lower just to see. We might get, I think that the best entry, safest entry, could be the sort of break and retest of the 1 hour 50. It's a little bit lower, but at least then it sort of confirms the new direction. Oh well, it looks like it's sort of turning around from where we are. Might not make 108.8. Well, it has pulled up from there, so let's see. 108.8 would be a very nice short. I'd be quite confident in taking that one. Dollar CAD looks like it could be turning around. But where to is the question. I think it just needs a pullback before another leg down, to be honest. I don't see that continuing. Let's shuff. Oh, I'm just going to try and do this transaction. Okay, dollar Singapore dollar. That's just been majorly bearish. Just see whether the New Zealand dollar turns around from these areas where it's at. The yen. Nothing else really interesting I'm seeing. The only one I really like the look of is the dollar yen, to be honest. Bitcoin doing some maneuvers. Bitcoin making a push. But yeah, that's what we see. So I think it's only really dollar yen of interest, and gold. Dollar yen will give us a clear entry, really. Any questions on any of that, Kevin, or anything else that we've seen there? Anything in particular you want me to have a look through at the moment? Yeah, I mean, let's have a look. I'll bring up oil. Let's have a look at UK oil. I mean, as you can see, it looks like it's turning around a bit just because things have quieted down the around front, but sure when anything starts again, it'll continue to the upside. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of room for upside. If we have a look on the monthly, now broken back above the 50. I mean, we could be looking back up to the 80s, 85, and beyond. So certainly worth keeping an eye on that. We'll have to see where's the science it wants to push on up to. Have you traded oil before? That'd be one of interest to trade if you did. Okay. No. Well, yeah, I guess have you found a favourite commodity or currency to trade yet, or are you still sort of looking across various markets? I mean, I know it may be slightly gold biased because that's what I look at for, but is there anything you found that you're sort of quite in tune with? Yeah. I think pound yen is a good one. I mean, I find it quite predictable, and it always sort of forms well to the breakout strategies, the 1 hour, 4 hour tests, etc. So yeah, I find that works quite well. Let's see where that pound yen's gone to right now. Sort of sitting there, not making much noise right now. This is a good sort of exercise of entries and trying to work things out, because if you look on these lower time frames, it's sort of pushing back above, should continue to the upside. And if you look at the 4 hours, again, looking sort of bullish, rejected off of there, look to be pushing up. We're sat at that 4 hour 50. And you could take this either way. You really could look at this very undecided. But then once you get to the daily, and I look at that, I think it could just be looking in reverse. I would rather see this day out. But again, it's very useful exercise. Where we are now, there's plenty of support. 142.5 has acted as a strong area of support and resistance for a long time. We go right back as far as you like, really. There's been a lot of rejections and movements around there, and at the moment I think it's a little bit undecided whether it's above or below, so definitely worth waiting the day out. But nonetheless, it could be a good entry right now. Let's think. Is there anything else you want us to take a look at, I guess, before we wrapping up for the evening? Let's have a look. Where we are with the gold. About 5 minutes. Yeah, it's sort of done what earlier on we were just here and just talking about these sort of pushes above. It's nice to get a reversal candle off of the EMAs. This is almost sort of a triple top now, so either it's going to push up above, or we are going to see a breakdown to at least the 50 EMA, and potentially the 200. So this is where patience would suit in this instance. But yeah, potentially, this is the thing, it's all going to be a risk. I like being a little bit more patient sort of this time of evening, and it's just a little bit slower. But yeah, let's see how it plays out. So looking at this, what would be your thoughts as to what's going to happen with this trade? Let's have a look at your instincts and where and what you think could happen here. Any thoughts? An order, if you're going to place an order, I would say 70, because I think we've got 69 is, and there's some rejections. I'd say 70 if you had to place an order. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, so because of that, what could happen is it could just push above to spike up and then turn around and come down. This is the problem with orders when you're not looking at the market. You know, if you're looking at it and you could see loads of momentum pushing up, then of course it would make sense to take something like that. But because if you're not going to be looking at it and you don't know, it could just be a spike up before coming back down. Let's see what it does. Are we gonna hit 74 to 75 and turn around? Is my curiosity. Looks to be holding above. So let's play out. Let's see if you would have done your theory. Well, it does look like we're getting a little bit of, these candles are getting a little bit bigger than they were. So let's see if it gets pushed back down. But is your train of thought when you're thinking about placing orders above these kind of highs, is it that you think if it breaks it should continue? There's no right or sort of wrong answer, by the way. It's just to sort of see how your mindset works. Okay, so to reduce trades that don't work out in that way, the best way to execute them, if you like seeing a push or a new high to sort of confirm the trend, is waiting for that pullback to retest it. Because I could be pretty certain now and tell you that if it does push and stay above, then what we're shortly going to see is a pullback to it. I know if you can't actually watch the charts, then it's not possible. But if you can, then this is the ideal way of doing it. So we might be pulling back again. Let's see, because at the moment this is still making a little channel here, a little push. I mean, if we look at it that way, it should push to the upside. And as we're watching it, we can see that momentum's looking to move to the upside. So let's see how it reacts. But yeah, if you can watch it, always better off waiting for the break and retest, which will always happen. And I would, if you're going to place a stop below, if you was going to enter on that higher there, and you was going to place a stop, I would say you'd have to put it below the lows, which means effectively pretty much 100 pip stop. Just because otherwise, if you put it anywhere less and that isn't meaningful, then you're just going to get stopped out, and you're going to potentially wake up or look at it and it's going to have broken it, but you've been stopped out because it's been too tight. This is the other thing when trying to trade when not able to view the charts all the time. Yeah, so this is definitely this would definitely cause unnecessary losses, just because, as I say, that would have triggered your entry. Then now it's turning around, and if you've had your stop below those sort of highs, or somewhere here, or just 20 or even 30 pips down to here, then it could well come down to there before turning around and actually going back up. And then you've actually had the trade right, but your stops have caused you to lose, or you haven't been patient enough to take the right entry. And this is why if you see it push up and then pulls back and then gives you some kind of a reversal candle, then it gives you extra confluences. It's all just about building up as many reasons for your theory to be right as possible, essentially. Yeah, if you're going to trade that way, I would definitely say wider stops. Even if you've got to reduce the lot sizes, because depending where your target is, trading that way might just not work. Because if you've got to have a 100 pip stop, but your target's only here, that's completely backwards. that is not safe trading. Okay, so you've got to look at it that way as well. You've got to, as much as think about your stops, think about your targets. You know, we talked earlier about sort of, I think, was it 78? Let's just go on to 1 hour. No, 74, 75. So you've got in a 73, there's potentially going to turn around 75, so that's 20 pips. You should only have your stop maximum 20 pips below. And if you look at that and see 20 pips below, puts at 71, it's too tight. You know, so therefore, shouldn't be a trade. You need to sort of think that way as well. Think about the targets, and you know, otherwise you're going to have a 20 pip target to 100 pip stop loss. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, this is the problem with orders. Orders are a much lower price, yes, because you might miss that brilliant entry. And like I say, I mean, if you were looking at it, an order was in at 70 and now it got triggered, then great. But yeah, putting orders above the highs or above or below the lows is certainly a risky trade. You know, you might see this play out, you know, but this is what I'm saying about the risk and the reward have to, you know, got to get those right. It's not giving us much certainty to the upside at the moment, which is, you know, why maybe it will do a pullback, which would have stopped you out and then carried on. Inside of anything else we've got here? Yeah, not really. Yes, but yeah. Well, hopefully that's helped as well. No, I'm glad that's helped. At least that's a couple of things we've covered of good use today. We've covered entries when it's on a sort of one direction run, and also just how to look at orders. I'm glad that's helpful. Let's see if it does push below this 20. See, this is the problem with the markets, is much as there's plenty of support there, and you think, no, well, that's should break or turn around there. Look what it's done. It's pushed higher, shown the left, then given the right, turned around. Now, it's only sort of 10 pips or whatever, but you know that's could have been half of the stop. All of a sudden, you're in minus 0.5%, or maybe even 1%. Is there any final question or any of that then before we wrap up? Brilliant, good stuff, good stuff. Well, keep having an eye on the charts. If there's something you see or you want to run by me first or anything, feel free to do so by any means. So yeah, you just let me know, and I will look forward to catching up with you again shortly. And do let me know if you get time for the more in detail one-to-one sessions. Great stuff. Well, have a pleasant evening, and I'll speak to you soon. All the best.
Good afternoon.
Good night.